Yeah, it'll work.
Cool.
So why don't you just like start over, I guess.
Okay. So the very first thing that you can notice is that there's basically have access to a main menu, two different styles. One is just your simple basic, like how do I get into the game? Well, I can tilt, get into the game, or I can hop into the menu here. And as you go through the game, you'll be able to meet different characters. Each character has a bit of lore, a bit of backstory, a bit of fairy tales or fables, or interesting pieces of information about sword and sorcery lore, or the world, or even the moon cycle. And as you meet them, they'll become available in this menu, and then you can actually go in and say click on Logfella and follow through all the things that Logfella has told you when you met him throughout the game. And then also, if you feel like being social networking web 3.0.com, you can post them to your Twitter. So basically, you and your friends who are playing through Sword and Sorcery, if you're really into the backstory or the lore, you can learn a bit through your friends. And there's a whole bunch of different characters that you meet. Each character has their own little piece. So you've got the archetype. He's going to give you kind of the hierarching stuff. So almost like teaching you look, listen, touch, observe, that type of stuff. He's almost like the narrator's narrator, so he's almost outside of the game, but also in the game. Meanwhile, it's also tracking through the actual lunar cycle, so different things in the game happen differently depending on what the lunar cycle is. So there's a dark moon in 3 days, so that might have the wolf in a different location, different battle, or have little areas that you've never been able to access before. Maybe you'll be able to pick mushrooms in an area that you weren't able to pick mushrooms in, all that kind of stuff. So then we can actually just go in. And there's right now there's in the same format of the EPs, there's side A and side B. So we'll go through.
Is that different parts of the game?
Yeah, there's different parts of the game, but it's more based on the music than it is on the story.
Okay.
And so this is Sword and Sorcery running in full iPad resolution. You'll notice we got a little bit of, we're toying around with the idea of trying to make it a touch more cinematic with the basically bringing it into a little bit more widescreen. One of the things we've been working on a ton since the last time people saw it is making sure the controls are really streamlined. So for example, I can hold and walk, but I can also go around and explore, and say I find somewhere that I want to go, I can just double tap and get my finger away from the screen essentially.
Yeah, cool.
So it's free to go around and I can touch my bushes and all that, but it also means that I can do like this kind of navigation and say, oh, I want to go stand by next to him, just double tap, and then you're free to listen to the music, play with the trees and all the different little things that are in there. The other thing is we've actually spent a lot of time trying to make sure that the camera feels right as well. So in the earlier builds, the camera was a little bit empty, didn't have any elasticity, it didn't feel like a camera. It felt like you were just like playing this binary 1-0 thing. So we've also done simple little stuff like added this little particle effect so that you know where you can come and go. So a lot of this stuff is like seemingly quote unquote under the hood, but in the end I really think it's done a lot to like make sure that the whole adventure style, like when you're playing point and click adventures on a mouse, on a PC, it always has that really simple feel and simple controls where everything you want to do is just really straightforward. Okay, so this is the finally continuing on here. We're really trying to make it like an overall experience that's like something that like a fan of actual adventure games would play. Got some more mushrooms there. So one of the things that we've also been spending a lot of time on is just dealing with like ensuring that every scene, like every frame, every area that you go to has that kind of like, no matter whether I'm zoomed in or I'm all the way out, it has that kind of like correct cinematic feel that Craig Super Brothers is actually like really looking for. And so he spends like, he's got this ginormous Adobe Illustrator file. It's an entire map of the whole world that you travel through, and then each scene actually gets like just so much love and so many like teeny tiny tweaks to make sure that every pixel is put perfect. So this entire section here, although it's very similar to the like the GDC build, actually has a ton in it that is never actually seen. Just the way the trees are aligned, the way the moon fits, waterfalls actually animating. And then just being able to play it at this resolution, like being able to see the entire map kind of at once.
That's
so like
cool.
It's such a, I mean, it seems like such a little thing, but I love being able to choose like how I see it. Like, do I see the entire map or do I actually go in tight? So another new little addition that hasn't been fully fleshed out, but will be relatively soon, is you get a chance to see these crosses. And you can go and pray at each one of the crosses, and every cross that you pray at has something that happens that if I said it would give away a lot of the story. But
Okay.
so there's a lot of the stuff that you're trying to a lot of the kind of quest in the game is not revealed to you through narrative. It's Craig, I always say Craig when I should be saying Super Brothers, is always really big on the idea of like keeping the narrative at a minimum in terms of text, but keeping the narrative at a maximum through what you see and how you play it and the atmosphere. So now I can actually go tilt for my inventory, and then if I say I really want to kick the boar's ass, I can actually go and unsheath my sword. And that's how I get into battle.
This looks great on the iPad.
Yeah, I mean, Craig's stuff is meant to be seen at like, I feel like his pixels really like almost gain even more when they're seen at a larger resolution, when things are like chunkier and cleaner, and I don't know. I mean, I guess really it's personal taste, right? Like some people, we've had some really interesting comments of people not really getting the point of doing it in pixel art, but yeah. I mean, those people are, they're entitled to their opinion and they can play how they want to play. But I love seeing like big blocks of color that contain so much, like somehow, some way, have so much style and personality to them.
So now, as you get farther into the game, do these battles speed up to the point where you're like really just going all over the place?
Yeah, so like there's a couple of new battles that we're not showing quite yet, but we will be in about 2 weeks or so. We're putting together another trailer for it.
Oh, cool.
Wrong way. And so you get to battle. I mean, the game is really not meant to be battle centric. Battles are kind of like something that happens, but doesn't necessarily have to happen. But again, it's kind of meant to be similar or in the same vein as like a Punch-Out, where every time you go to a battle, there's that extra little like quirk in there that you need to figure out the pattern to, and as you progress, basically your reaction needs to get a little bit more fine-tuned. Yeah, we really want to make it so that there's really not going to be that much battling in the game. The crux of the game is still going to be exploring, adventuring, searching, finding. So that's the first side. show you a little glimpse of the second side because it's still quite work in progress. But
Okay.